an uplift today. G'day and welcome to Uplift. Whether you're watching this morning, evening, live or in replay, we appreciate you. Glad to see you for this episode. My name is Sarah Wade. I'm coming from Perth in Western Australia. I'm an art therapist and, of course, co-host. My other co-host is the other side of the world to me, Mr. Neil Thrussell, joining me from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Lovely to have you as usual.
It's great to have you and see you, and I'm glad that you're finally healthy. Last episode, we all said a few prayers for you, and sent you positive vibes so that you would heal, and it must have worked.
Ta-da! Oh, nothing like love, is there? Hey, speaking of love, we're going to be talking about relationships today. So we've got Dwayne Klassen coming to us, also from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, who's been traveling the world, getting his manhood on, and has come back home to Canada to spread the word about remarkable relationships to local men. So it's great to have you here today, Dwayne. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you so much, Neil. I'm really honored to be a part of this conversation. And I have to tell you, your introduction is so incredible. It's just wonderful. It's got a really great vibe to it.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Hey, now that you've come back home from traveling the world, I was curious to know, has your perception of a remarkable relationship changed having seen other cultures?
It really actually, and that's a really great question, because I've really witnessed a lot in regard.
Dwayne's muted. I don't know if he can hear me, but mate, you've been muted.
Okay, I'll just go offline here for a second and see if I can.
Bear with us. We're having a technical difficulty. It happens to the best of us, right? So Dwayne is currently a little bit muted. Well, quite a lot muted, actually. And I'm sure that they'll get sorted soon. I'm going to press a few buttons. Bear with us, Dwayne. And everybody watching, I appreciate you. Hey, if you've got any questions for our amazing guest speaker today, please feel free to whack them in the comments. It's going to be a very nuanced conversation. So if you fancy joining us, asking some questions, we would appreciate that. And if you're watching in replay, keep asking some questions. Dwayne is still on mute. So while he sorts that out, maybe it's me. I will leave the conversation. No, I'm going to carry forth. Cool. So I don't know about you, but relationships and me haven't always been the easiest. In fact, I wouldn't say I've had a remarkable relationship with anyone except for myself and my daughter. Can you relate? Maybe if you can, let me know. Because I know that one of the things that I value so much is that beautiful bond that my daughter and I have together. And I actually get a little bit jealous of people who do have a remarkable relationship with their spouse or loved one. So I'm curious to hear Dwayne's take on his cultural experience, she says as she knocks a microphone and computer everywhere, and how it may have changed since traveling the world.
All right, we're back. I believe we're good. I don't know how I got muted. I don't know. Sometimes what happens is a pop-up will come and it cuts out my earbuds, but I'm not quite sure how. Anyway, we're good to go. And anyway, to pick up where I'm not quite sure where we left off, but in regards to the shifts and changes that I've witnessed on my journey was simply the idea that family and relationships matter. And I find that in our Western culture, where relationships are really disposable, like they're just so easy to exit. As soon as something pops up, we're done. I can't do this anymore. or all the checks and balances are just not working. And so people have this grass is greener mentality. And over there, it is no, we're in this, we're doing this, and we're making this thing work. And we made a commitment to each other. And yeah, we're doing the ride or die thing. Now, obviously, they don't have the same energy of that, but the religion and culture plays a big role in that.
No
And
doubt.
so, yeah, I mean, but I take away what I believe would work in expanding on my coaching, expanding on my delivery of my programs. That we really need to do a deep dive as a society, as a culture, about what we are looking at when it comes to relationships, and how can we move from just having a a regular relationship to what I deem to be a remarkable relationship. And that truly takes work, and that truly takes both people stepping in and committing to it. And
Mm.
sadly, we don't have that level of commitment. And Neil's kind of my hero because he has one of the most enduring marriages I've ever seen. And so he's setting the bar high.
So thank you for those kind words. And and it's only 39 years. I still have to make it to 40.
So close. Something about dishwashers not being restacked and cookies, right?
Yeah. So Wayne, so we've talked about what makes, in your definition, what makes a relationship remarkable as opposed to just a relationship.
Well, like I said, first it's the commitment, but it's what really is making the relationship remarkable is that we see the union, we see the connection as the third entity. And so both members of this connection are doing the work. And it's not just one individual, going to the seminars. And I see this all the time, that you go to whether it's a relationship seminar or self-development and personal growth, I see 65, 70, 80% of the participants are women. And where are the men? And so, and yes, I'm not throwing my brothers under the bus here. There's a lot of amazing men that go and are sharpening the saw. But by and large, it's women going to these amazing events, and they're getting, their saw is getting sharpened by learning some more. And they come home and they go, honey, oh my God, I learned something amazing. And there was this, and this. And he's like, well, that's great, honey. That's wonderful. Can we talk about that? And the game's on. We'll talk later. That'd be great. And so there's not necessarily the buy-in from both. And so it becomes a real challenge. And when one person is doing the growth, and I'm not saying it's just women doing the growth, there's a lot of men doing the growth too, and their partner might not be. And so it's this spiraling up together that needs to happen. And we're doing this together, and we are fixing this together, and we're recognizing that we've got some challenges. We recognize that we've got some problems, and we're doing what it takes to make this thing go to a whole nother level of possibility. And I talk about for men to step in and be a champion to women. And what does that look like? And that's for us as men to really own our past, our present, and having a vision for the future. Because as men, we are the provider, we are the presider, and we are the ones that are creating the container that's going to shift and change. And what I mean by that is that to have a remarkable relationship, we must understand where the masculine and feminine energy is in the relationship. And Sarah, you talked about like, and Neil about, okay, we have these average relationships or meh energy in relationships. And there's this languishing in this, where it's not really moving forward. And so many relationships right now are sexless. They're completely sexless, and they'll go months, sometimes years, without any intimacy. And that's usually because at some point, the masculine feminine energy, the polarity got switched. And what ends up happening is more and more women are now having to acquiesce into a masculine energy because he is not. And a lot of men are buying into this idea that happy wife, happy life. And now they go into a more feminine energy. And what ends up happening is his decisiveness goes away. His leadership in the household has now gone away. Now she has to do double duty. And what ends up happening is she gets robbed of the opportunity to be in her divine feminine energy. And when a woman is not in that feminine energy, do you think attraction can actually happen? Not really. And so a lot of couples are wondering, well, why are we like this? This is supposed to be my beloved, but it's not happening. And it's because they've revealed parts of themselves where a man has revealed the feminine energy in him. I'm not saying it's wrong, but for there to be sexual polarity, a man must be in his authentic masculine, and a woman must be in her divine feminine in the right ratio. And that to me is a remarkable relationship. And that's a relationship worth fighting for.
Neil, I'd love to hear your take on this.
I absolutely, I'm in there, because right now the world is we're trying to figure out who we are, and how we're, like, right now men are I'm not going to say persecuted, but men have to be very careful, because if they come across too strong, they're misogynist. It's a difficult time for men, and it's a difficult time for women, because they've been asked to step up. There's tons of single mothers. They've taken on the role of breadwinners and all this. So it's just this mess, but yet we need to come back to the basics, that both can't carry the energy of the masculine at the same time, and both can't carry the energy of the feminine at the same time. So one needs to be more masculine and one needs to be more feminine energy. Both sexes can carry both, but a relationship, you need to figure out who's going to carry it. And yeah, so I agree with Dwayne, and it's hard conversations. And I believe as a society we tend to shy away from that. If the sex isn't great the very first time we meet, or the first time we have two fights, boom, we're done. And I believe we need to sit down, and every partnership, every relationship needs to hash out what's working, what's not working, whether it's even just a couple guys going around to sit around for beers. They need to figure out, is this working for them or not? And it's to make, Dwayne and I have a relationship. How do we make it better than meh? How do we make it remarkable? Your thoughts, Sarah?
I have a slightly different take to you guys. Sorry to tell you. I feel like Neil and I are fighting over the producers right here, I think. Okay, yeah, I have a slightly different take. Oh, we switched back in. Yeah, and I think that's actually quite interesting, how we do switch back. And what I was going to bring to the table was, yes, swipe right on the relationship to self and to others, but it's okay to have a little bit of feminine, a little bit masculine, and work together. My personal take is that when we work out of both worlds, and as Neil said, our world has changed so much in the last 100 years, and I'm sure you guys see it too, as we are flipping through our beautiful personal growth as a collective in world, we see changes, and we're all trying to sink in, whether you're your guys' age or my age or a younger generation, we're all trying to figure that out. So with the wisdom of your experience, Dwayne, how do people figure out their next step? So what would help somebody who is trying to just get this remarkable relationship with somebody else?
What they have to recognize is that, and because of our Western culture and this need to be, or grass is greener, that, oh, my relationship's not working and I'm going to exit this relationship because I'm going to work on myself. I think it's time for me to work on myself and do my thing. And when I'm ready, I'm going to get back into a relationship. Well, for the people that are listening and you are in a relationship, the truth is, and I learned this the hard way, and I've understood this in all the research that I've done, and it really is a truth. And the truth is the relationship container is the most powerful container for our growth and our evolution. And when we say that we're going to, honey, this is not working. It's not you, it's me. I'm going to go work on myself. Chances are, yep, they'll go to a seminar. They'll do everything that looks like they're doing their eat, pray, love moment. But the reality is they're not learning to the degree that they would if they would stay in the relationship dynamic. Relationships are not by accident. We are drawn together by a force bigger than you and I. And when that happens and our souls connect, there's a learning there. And the learning is about our shadow. The learning is about the little girl and the little boy within, and the wounds of the mother, the wounds of the father. We bring forward. And for anyone that's going through their own version of their personal hell, it is because of these wounds. And a relationship is like a mirror to us, and it shows us who we are in our relationships, whether it's a man or a woman. They're there to help us. As much as we could be like this and we're fighting and nothing's going right, it's because we're meant to evolve past this thing that's preventing us from going to the next level. So if we were to just step back and go, oh, wow, she triggers me on this, and this all the time, or he does that, it just drives me nuts. Well, what about it is driving you nuts? What about it? It is not the individual, and it took me forever to get this, is that no one can make you mad and angry and all these other emotions, but they are triggers. They're triggers. And what we need to do as individuals to truly get to our remarkable self so that we can have a remarkable relationship is that we have to get to a place where we love ourselves to the point where that relationship is no longer romantic love, and that we're just too much of our Western culture is all about Western or romantic love. And romantic love is a disaster because it's all transactional based. It's an absolute disaster. We must get it back to unconditional. And a great way to do that is like this cup. I've got water in this cup. And we often get into this idea that I'm coming into this relationship with a cup half full, and she's going to come into a relationship with her cup half full. And together we're going to combine it, and I'm going to be full. She's going to be full. but that doesn't work. And because we're coming into the relationship incomplete, this water represents love. And in order for me to be in a remarkable relationship, I need to love Dwayne to this level and beyond. And then I got to keep pouring in, and anything that flows over and onto the table or onto the floor, that's the love my beloved gets. That's it's the overflow that every relationship should have. And so I'm going to love myself so much and be the remarkable man I need to be to the highest degree I can, for not only for myself, but my beloved. I love myself so much that I can accept her. I can accept her for who she is. And rather than seeing all the flaws and you did this and you did that and you do, because now it's an unconditional connection. And yes, it requires a very evolved sense of self to get there. It doesn't mean you're not triggered anymore, but you see your beloved with new eyes. You see your beloved with the soul that they are. Like, oh, wow, I see that. I see what I'm doing right now. And allowing that level of awareness that we have to do a check-in. And both are doing that. And now we can come together without all this energy. But until our cups are filled, we are always starving for our beloved to fill our cup.
Cool, powerful. It's interesting. I think you were sort of talking about, I'm going to cough. I'll come back in a sec.
Well, apparently you caused Sarah to have a coughing fit. Maybe she wasn't willing to accept or ready to accept whatever it was that she was going to share. She couldn't cough it out.
Sometimes we just can't communicate when we want to, right? And that feeling when it's in your throat. I've experienced that in relationships, and for me, when I've choked up, it's become often about an expectation that wasn't met.
Yep.
So from a men's perspective, Dwayne, what's a way that for men, how can they communicate their wants, their needs, their desires, everything to women so that they're truly heard?
Well, it has to be in the infancy, because too many people, both men and women, run on assumptions that this is how I want to be treated. And so you've got to do a deep dive into your own values and boundaries. What would a remarkable relationship be for me? What does amazing sex look like? What is that about? And what does it mean to love me? Like, how will I know that that person loves me? Okay, she will or he will do this, this, and this. And it's being very upfront. And one of the best books that is a great conversation, even on a date, is The 5 Love Languages. I mean, it's just talking about it. Like, what is it? Is it words of affirmation? Is it physical touch, or is it gifts? And you can go, oh yeah, I like that, or I like this. And even on a first date, you have complete license to go deep into what you really like. Now, to touch on what you're talking about, Sarah, is that in your experience too, that a lot of men are not coming to the table with what it is they truly want. But there's another piece that men often do, and I've done it, and that is front loading their personality. So they're all things to all people, and they're perfection, and they're doing great. And then over time, it's not, and the wheels start to come off the cart, and he's not able to sustain that masculine energy, what I call the authentic masculine. And so he's able to be heart-centered, he's able to be decisive, he's able to step up to the plate. Whereas a lot of men will find out soon that she is actually more powerful and able to stand in her power a lot stronger. And then a man will go, ooh, I'm in way over my head here, or she makes more money than I do, or some way, somehow, his ego is being challenged. And so his pride, all these pieces, and he starts to disengage. He starts to slow down the offerings. He starts to slow down and not give back as much as he once did, because he was not integral. He was not showing up authentically. And this is really important that both just step in. This is who I am. This is how it is. I'm, all my flaws. I can't cook. I can't do this or whatever. I dropped out of grade 12. I know it sucks. I didn't, but I'm just saying, like, whatever your flaws are, just be absolutely unapologetic about it.
Yeah, be imperfectly, perfectly you, right?
That's right. That's right. And if they're going to go, oh my God, that so reminds me of, when I did this or that, and just have fun with it. If you are really unabashedly accepting of who you are, you could have so much fun with it. I mean, I know both men and women that are, artists or musicians, and they've got nothing to rub together, but they're just connecting because they're real with each other. They're honest with each other, and they know that they can trust each other. That's the key. That's a key piece. If you don't trust each other early on in the inception of the relationship, it will undermine what you're trying to build.
I love that. So can we continue that then, like from a masculine perspective? What's something that you guys can do in relationships that can help to build that trust in the early stages? You mentioned, being authentic at the start, owning your imperfections. What's something else that guys can do?
Well, for men, it's following through. Be decisive. Like if it's a date, we're going here, 7:00. That little black dress that you like to wear, that's and those red heels, oh, yeah, do that. And here's the other piece: is women will, what I quote, excuse my language, shit test their men. And what I mean by that is that they want to make sure that it is authentic. So she might, if they're in a relate, well, we're not gonna, oh no, I don't want to go there, or I don't want to go there. Or that's not going to work. I can't go on this night. And if she's not offering up an alternative, she's really not that into him. But what he has to do is just have some fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. No, I'll be at your place at 7:30. I've got the car waxed up. I've got reservations. And of course, it's at a place she likes. I mean, but she might say no, simply because she is seeing if he is going to step into his power and just claim it from that masculine energy. Because on a date, a woman truly wants to have it taken care of. Everything's taken care of. It's done. All she has to do is relax into it and be in her feminine vibration. Because if she has to start thinking and doing this and making decisions, okay, yeah, fine. Well, why don't we go to that movie instead? Or we'll go to this. It does not build that sexual tension. It doesn't build it at all. And men must be aware of this. And so to build that masculine energy, to build that up, it's just being decisive, taking the lead, and really taking charge of the romantic side of things, so that she can surrender that masculine energy that she has to carry around. And if she has to go into power struggle with a man that's not standing in his masculine, and when I say that, I don't mean that he has to be over here in his masculine energy. No, because if a man's too far in his masculine energy, then he can be an asshole. He can be a jerk. He could be a bully when he's too far in this energy. And on the flip side, if he's too far in his feminine energy, and then he can be very indecisive. He could be a pushover, a wuss, a coward. and it doesn't serve the relationship. Yes, he can be communicating and very heart-centered and all these things, but for a woman, she needs her man, and most men right now are kind of in the center because they're afraid. Like Neil said, we're kind of straddling this line of what do we do when pop culture says I'm supposed to do this or I'm supposed to do that. And what we need to be is like a 70-30 ratio. And I talk about this in my coaching, and I have it's called the masculine feminine energy chart. And a perfect ratio for a man is 70 to 30%. And this is why I call the authentic masculine, because he's 70% of his masculine. He's heart centered. He can be decisive and he's intuitive, but he's not a pushover either. And this allows a woman to really fall into that and go, okay, this is my guy. And when if things went sideways in the world, there was a car accident or whatever, she knows that he is her protector. But a man over here, and you've seen videos of this where men would just push the woman over and run for his life, and yeah, that's the coward. And so it's the protector that comes out. And so that allows her to soften into her dynamic where she is now 70% into her feminine. And yet she still has 30% of that masculine so that she can still be decisive and do her thing and at work and crush it wherever she needs to. But when they're in relationship, she's now softer. She can be in that grace period place that she's just like, oh, thank God I'm with a guy that gets me and I can do this and I can be sexy and delicious and wear those heels, And so, but with a guy that's over here, and chances are she's seen the little boy in him. And whenever a woman sees a little boy in the man, it's very hard for her to get to see the man again. And so a lot of men are struggling. Well, why am I doing all these things? I'm checking the boxes off. No, she's seen the little boy. And once that happens, it's tough for a woman to go, that's my man.
I agree. Yeah. I think I've had many conversations with both men and women about relationships. And one thing that struck me was the fact that, maybe you've got 2 children together or from a past relationship, but you may be thinking, I've got 2 kids or I've got 3 kids. It's me and my partner. I don't want to be dealing with all this extra stuff. The mental load is a big part of it. I'll come back to that in a minute, the mental load. What I was thinking a lot of us want is that strong foundation that's soft, kind of like a nest. When we think about a nest, it's up in a tree. It's been built with love and gathered and pulled together. The birds are in there creating these beautiful life for themselves with these lovely little eggs that are going to transform into little tiny baby birds soon. But it's that softness and the structure both at once that women are interested in. It's that thing that we're attracted to, I think. One of the things that I think can create that, oh, he's a little boy, it's frustrating me, I don't want to be his mother anymore situation that you were just talking about, Dwayne, is that the mental load isn't shared both ways. So I'm curious to know, with the mental load, what's your take on that?
It's typically on one side where if a man sees the little girl in her, he will find that somewhat endearing. If it's a place where within the relationship dynamic that is like a personality trait, where it's a hard stop for women. As soon as that little boy comes in, because remember, the women are looking for protection and a provider and all these different pieces. So men have a very simple set of criteria to be in a loving, nurturing relationship. But women have a very much different set of criteria for being in a relationship. And there is, you talk about the mental piece. It is when we're not getting our needs met, if we're not communicating properly, this is where the relationship can be such a mental drain for so many people. But it's because you're not figuring out what the triggers are, and your beloved is there to help you. And you touched on this, Sarah. I was like, there's blended families, and people have kids, and then they have to prioritize the kids. And if there's a blended family, it is typically, it's me and the kids first, and then it's the relationship. I'm going to
Yeah.
say something very controversial.
Go for it.
I'm going to say something very controversial. And if you truly, and for anyone that's in a blended situation, you must make the relationship the priority, not the children, not the children. Now, I get that could be triggering for so many people that, oh, it's me and the kids against the world. I get that. But if you are wanting to be in a loving, nurturing relationship, and perhaps the first relationship was not a good role model for the children, regardless of their, man or woman, it doesn't matter. And now you're trying to get into a new relationship, and this person checks all the boxes, not only for yourself, but you think would be a good role model for your children. It's right now, children are cannon fodder when it comes to relationships. As much as parents say, oh, me and the kids first, I call bullshit, because when they're exiting out of relationships and the children are witnessing mom going through, guy after guy after guy trying to get it right, oh, it's just me and the kids. No, it's not. It's mom and her neurosis. It's mom trying to get through her stuff, and it's dad trying to get through his stuff. You've got to have a united front, because as the couple comes together and say, you're my ride or die, what do you think that does to the children? They go, finally, mom and Bob, or mom and Frank, or Frank and Julie are finally showing me what a loving, nurturing relationship is. Because that's what the children need right now. They need role models, and they don't have it, especially when the children are priority, because they could feel it. And it doesn't need a blended family for that. It could be just a long-term marriage. They're now 14 years in, and the kids are 12 and 13 years old. They sense that something is off. They sense it. And so it's typically mom and the kids against the world, and the husband is trying to figure out what's going on and how to get into that. And so relationship, or the romance, is dead, sex is dead, and so all he has is to work on what he needs to work on, and all he has left is probably his employment. As men are terrible at nurturing their relationships with their brothers. And this is why it's so important that men get around men. Nurture those relationships, my friends. Nurture those relationships. Get into community with men. It's so imperative. Women will not give up their girlfriends. They will not. Community is so important for women, and it has to be important for men. But I digress. I want to make sure that everyone understands that it's got to be the couple that is the priority. Children come second. Even though that might be triggering, they've got to be second. There's no doubt you love them and you want the best for them. But if that is true, then you will make your relationship the priority.
I'll just take a segue here. What if we look at historically men and women's communication styles? Men communicate slower and with fewer words. Women communicate quicker and with more words. So if we just look at the differences in that, if you want a great relationship, women stop talking and let the guy speak. And it could take a minute, 30 seconds, whatever. Allow him to complete his thought process and understand, as long as he's engaging, that it can take time. Men, recognize that your partner is on a million synapses going on and 100,000 different processes and is sharing them with you, and you just need to not need. I encourage you to allow that, so you can sift through it and just say things like, I didn't understand that. Can you slow down? But be polite. Like Tina and I, we've been married 39 years. And I can get frustrated and say, can I finish my thought? And she knows that, whoops, she didn't give me enough time. And I can communicate pretty fast, but sometimes I'm trying to formulate the whole thought process. And sometimes many men like to do that, have the whole scenario plotted out before they open their mouth, because they're fixers and doers. Because if they say something, then they need to go and implement it. And some men don't get the thought of sharing and or not sharing, but collaboration in the thought process. They think they need to have it all worked out and figured out. So I encourage you, be patient with your men, and men, be patient with your partner, because it's all part of the great communication. So breathe before you speak.
Wise words, Neil.
And Sarah, are you a fast communicator when you're in relationships, or are you the...
I like to listen. I think you've known me long enough to know that I'm a listener, Neil. I think that when we listen and body language, and when we listen in a whole variety of ways, it's not just verbally for me. I believe that, when you come into a relationship, you still had to do the dishes, you still had to do the shopping, the washing, all of the things. It's that mental load that I don't want to deal with my partner. I want them to just look around and go, the kids need food this week. Oh, I haven't got a shirt that's on. Whatever the thing is. And just that ownership is so sexy. It's just, if we can just let men just empower themselves to empower the family dynamics, I think that would be amazing. I'm curious to know from Dwayne's perspective, have you noticed this too, and what you could add to that?
Well, right away, it would be that there has to be those values and boundaries. Like, what is sexiness to you? For a lot of guys, we have this perception of what is sexy and what works for us. And we are, and to Neil's point too, is that men and women are different. And there's too many people trying to create this homogenistic vibe between men and women. There isn't. We could be buddies and best friends, but remember, we're in this because we are loving each other, and we want to be intimate with each other, and we want to keep that fire stoked. So if we're looking around, and I use this term in my coaching, is that take a sec, just take a sec. And what you're doing is you're just taking a second, looking around at what needs to be done. What needs to be done? Oh yeah, that shirt's on the floor. That doesn't belong there. Oh yeah, the dishes haven't been done. I can take care of that. But it's both. It's both that are doing this. It's like, okay. And men are so simple when it comes to pleasing them. It's unbelievable. A sandwich just given to them is like oh my God, this is like, they're holding the holy grail. And they go, you made me this? Oh, wow. It's like, it jazzes us. This is why we're very different, but we're simple. We are so simple. And I know that can frustrate women. It can frustrate because we are so simple. But that in itself is a blessing too, that we are truly easy to please. And all we're looking for is nurturing. We're looking for love. We're looking to be fed. We're looking to have great sex. And everything else, when that's in play, we got a cape on our back and an S on our chest. And we're gonna go and we're gonna fight the the soldiers coming off the boats for our beloved. It's that simple. But unfortunately, in our Western culture, it's not. We try and convolute it and make it all hard, and that we're so different and we got to strive for something. No, it's love. It's recognizing it. It's the want to have love, love in our lives, and wanting to do the work. Just do the work on yourself. Why am I triggered? Why has that person triggered me? Okay, I know I can love that person. I seen that person. I saw something. That's why we're brought together. There's one in, if there's two people, so there's 3.5 or 3.9 billion to 2 odds that we met. And so the universe is saying, you guys got some shit you got to work out. And I'm going to see to it that this is going to be an amazing relationship if you do the work.
Sounds remarkable. Yeah.
I don't know, when did I write it? Probably 10 years ago. I wrote a very tongue-in-cheek book called The Relationship Survival Guide for Men: 7 Secrets Every Man Needs to Know About Women. And one of the secrets was foreplay begins when you vacuum.
Ta-da! Go to the head of the class. Off you go. Yeah, it's that all day stuff, isn't it? Yeah. What was another secret you had in there, Neil?
Well, for $6.99 on Amazon. Oh, well, no, it's Dwayne. So it's about interviewing. It's about Dwayne. So Dwayne, you have where I'm trying to find I can't see past this. You have this. What is the Remarkable Relationship Program?
Well, this is both for singles and couples that want to truly connect and have their version of what a remarkable relationship is to them. Now, they could be languishing in the met energy, but they truly want to make this thing work. They've seen glimpses of what's possible. There's been an up and down, but now they truly want to put the shine on their relationship and truly bring out the remarkable man within him and the remarkable woman within her. And when both couples are engaged in the Remarkable Relationship Program, it's truly about their own personal journey. As much as we're working as a couple together, you are also we're working one-on-one with you. In fact, the first 2 months of this program, I'm working individually with each couple, or individually, because everyone has a story. And a lot of people have recognized that couples therapy or counseling, when you get in the same room together, it could be, the he said, she said dynamic, and it can derail what it is that they're trying to do. And as soon as that coach goes on one side or the counselor goes on one side or the other, it could really derail what they're trying to do. So what I get our couple to understand is that, remember, this is your journey in a dynamic, because you're here to learn about who and what you are in your relationship. And so as you understand yourself, now you can see your beloved with new eyes. And that's what we're trying to do here. You're seeing the beauty, the wonder, the stoic nature, his sense of purpose or her sense of being, and why you are together. And so by the time that we're coaching together, now we already have a trajectory going forward. This is not we're not trying to win me over as the coach. We're now doing this together. And the result is a truly remarkable experience that they get to really find their beloved. And they do that by finding it within themselves first. And this is why this is also for singles, because they might have been out of a long-term relationship and now they're working on themselves. They want to learn more and they're ready to turn the page, but they need to get to the next level so that their next partner gets the new chapter or the new version, the 2.0 version of them, so that they understand how they are and so they can be fully open, heart open to new possibilities, to be in a remarkable dynamic because they are being remarkable.
I love that.
Wonderful.
For those of you listening to Uplift today, to get in contact with Dwayne, it's literally www.dwayneklassen.com. So it's Dwayne, Dawayne, and Klassen's with a K, Klassen. So if you'd like to get in touch, whether you are single or in a relationship, I don't know, it might be a good idea. Neil?
Yes.
So, as we're wrapping up the show, I know you guys have spent a bit of time together. So I'm curious to know, what have you got from spending time around men, in particular this lovely human that we've got on the screen today?
Pardon? Could you say that again? All of a sudden my computer broke up.
Sure. I was curious to know, because you guys are, you're in men's groups, you've both been there for each other over time, and I'm curious to know, what is it that you've got from spending time with Dwayne himself?
Great question. Besides a brother that I can trust, a friend that I can trust, that if I would pick up my phone at 2 a.m. and say, Dwayne, life is shit and I'm in trouble, he's not going to go, hello, call me in the morning. He's going to be there for me, which is important for men to have somebody that they know that they can call. It's important for me to know that I can call Dwayne at whatever time. It's important that when we're sitting around and we're either not lamenting about life, but we're saying, looking at how to make our worlds better, it's another person's point of view because he's come at it from a different skill set. And he's also looking at how can I make myself a better person, because it's also another. So he accepts me for who I am, but he's asking me questions as to how would you like to show up? How would Neil like to show up in the world? And as a great coach, he's not putting his coloring and his judgment to it. He's asking me what it is that I want. And let's say I want to ride my bike 150 kilometers. Then he's going, well, what would be the next steps to do it? So it's been wonderful to have Dwayne in my life, and for the relationships to inspire me to say, hey, you have a wonderful relationship, because sometimes I may take it for granted because she's just my wife for 39 years. But it's more than that.
Love that. And Dwayne, from your perspective, spending time with Neil, obviously you guys have spent time together, that conglomeration of that men's energy. As we're wrapping the show up, I'm curious to know, can you just touch on that importance of being around like-minded people?
It's really important, because if you ask any man how he's doing, just off the cuff, most men will go, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm fine. But the truth is, he's hurting. Most men are hurting. Most men are going through the dark night of the soul. And FINE is actually an acronym, and it's fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. And it's imperative for the men that are listening for their brotherhood to really shine, to truly mean something. And this dovetails on what Neil's talking about, is that we got to go deeper. We got to like know, how are you doing? No, come on, bro. How are you doing? Lay it on me. What's going on? And then now we're getting real. Now we're going below the surface, and we're getting past what the ego is protecting them from. And then it's like, okay, oh man, yeah, me and the missus, we're missing. We're I don't know what's going to happen, or this happened at work, or I don't know if this is sustainable. I feel like a fraud. I feel like, now we're getting somewhere, and men need this. Men need community, not only for this, but when men get around men, they now get into that masculine vibration. Because anytime a man gets into a group, one of the benefactors of that is his beloved, because she can feel that he was able to dump the heavy load. And I'll end this with this, is that very few men are comfortable dumping the really heavy stuff onto their wife or their partner. And they actually shouldn't, as much as the pop culture says, oh, you got to share everything. No, if it's really nasty, ugly, guy stuff, that's for your brothers. That's the container for your brothers that are in community, the guys that truly have your back. Like Neil has my back and I have his back. We can go to the ugly. We could go to the stuff. No judgment. And that's what we need to create as men. We need to have that container of trust, connection. And it's rare out there, and it needs to happen.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today, Dwayne. I love the nuanced places that we've traveled, and I trust that people who are watching this live and in replay really got something out of it. I know that spending time with those people that we care and love about makes such a difference. And if you don't have that person in your life, I don't know, maybe it's a good idea just to reach out to somebody on your screen right now, because we do genuinely care about people. We want the best for you. And as Neil said, we don't put our mark on it, but they're for you. So if you've really connected with Dwayne, please feel free to reach out. There's so many ways you can reach out to him, and there's such a beautiful connection that you can have with yourself and with others, and get ugly, and connect. I love that. Neil, as we're wrapping up, how are you going to get ugly today?
How am I going to get ugly? Well, I'm going to be authentic. Is what I'm headed to a men's weekend, and I'm going to be raw and real with my brothers, and I'm going to demand and command that they do the same with me.
No, I love that. And Dwayne, are you also getting ugly with yourself, or what are you doing?
Absolutely. The man in the mirror is my priority. And I'm always wanting to step up and play a bigger game, because even though my brand is the remarkable relationships and the remarkable man, I'm still striving to be the best version of myself. And so every day I have to make sure that I am integral with that journey. And we touched on at the beginning that I did this, traveled the world. And that taught me how to truly love the man in the mirror, and to truly allow the authentic self to be the primary, to be the one that steps boldly forward. Because right now, the world needs remarkable men. And I have to step boldly forward to make sure that this message gets to the world. It's that important.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. It is such an important message, and I know that I truly appreciate you. I'm sure so many others truly appreciate you. And the screen's not changing for me. Oh, it changed. It had a little heart attack. For me, I'm going to get ugly by doing art, because I express in more ways than verbally, and I trust you do too. From us to you, we appreciate you so much. We look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Uplift, and feel free to go and check out the back catalogue and check out the replays. Till next time, design the life you desire and be the best you can be. Take care.
Take care.